Hello, mighty companions. This is Earl Purdy. I want to welcome you to Facebook Live, and that ain't no jive. And we're going to be on finding the present. How do you get in the now? How do you let go of the past? How do you focus in on right now? How do you take advantage of right now? Because most people are in the past or they're in the future. Very, very few people live in the now. As a matter of fact, living in the now is one of the most abstract things that I would ever hear when I got on my spiritual metaphysical path. Being in the now. What does that mean? Also, finding the present, page 250 in the text, with the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles, page 250, finding the present. That's in chapter 13, The Guiltless World, section 6, Finding the Present. And this is Earl Purdy here on Facebook Live. It's great to be back here with you. And as you know, I am the divine repetition teacher. I'm the truth remembering teacher. I am not an analyzer of A Course in Miracles. I've been doing The Course in Miracles for 40 years. It's changed my life. For the last 33 years, I've been doing it full time. And The Course in Miracles says over and over and over, and I'm going to say this every time you listen to me, it says over and over and over again, remember the ideas. Remember what I'm telling you, that if you use what you're being told, you'll get the result. Your understanding is not a powerful contribution to the truth. I know we've been taught that it's all about, I got to understand what you're talking about. I got to understand what you're talking about. Your understanding doesn't make anything true or not. I don't have to understand the mechanics of a car to drive a car. I just need to know how to drive a car. So for you to think that you need to understand every aspect of God, the unknown spiritual truth, before you can utilize it or benefit from it is a big ego trick. That is not the way it works. It's especially not the way the Course in Miracles works. So I'm going to say it again because I know it takes a few minutes for everybody to come online, that we're at finding the present, how to be in the now, how to use the now, and it's in chapter 13, section 6, The Guiltless World, and page 250 in the text. There's another really good aspect of today's topic that I would like for you to tune in on. If there's anyone in your life that you need to forgive, if there's anyone in your life that you need to see differently, then this is going to be an especially powerful lesson for you today, because I like to do the practical application of the truth. So I want you to keep in mind that, first of all, if you have a grievance against anyone, the key to letting go of that grievance is, would you like to know what the key to letting go of the grievance and unforgiveness is? You have to want to. All right? If you don't want to and you're trying to make yourself do it, then this is not going to work. I'll say it again. First you set the goal, then the way to achieve the goal happens. So what do I mean? First I have to want to forgive. Then I can be taught how to forgive and how to let something go. If I want to hold on to the grievance, but then I got to have somebody prove to me why I should let it go when I don't want to, well, then you still won't. You'll use whatever I say as an excuse for you to hold on to the grievance. So the first thing I want you to do is to make the decision that you have a willingness, even if it's a tiny willingness, that you have a small willingness to forgive. That means to let it go. But you have to want to let it go. Okay? So, finding the present. To perceive truly is to be aware of all reality through the awareness of your own. So what does that mean? You become aware of the truth through the awareness of your own truth, your own reality. So the more you find out about who you really are, the more you will be able to perceive correctly. Because you perceive correctly through the awareness of your own reality. So how do you perceive correctly? How do you, in other words, the Course in Miracles is only talking about two things. I'm going to take all the mystery out of the Course in Miracles that I can. The Course in Miracles, first of all, the Course in Miracles is a course in correct perception. So the Course in Miracles, first and foremost, is it operates at the level of your mind, your thinking, and your perception. So the Course in Miracles is not focused on the outer effect world. It's focused on the way you are seeing things. It's based on the premise that the way you feel is coming from the way you are seeing things. The way you feel is coming from what you are telling yourself. It's coming from the meanings you are giving to everything that's happening in your life. Yes, but, 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 yes, but. I had to get that out for everybody that's watching right now. Okay? And so the Course in Miracles says, if you want to perceive correctly, it says, for this, no illusions can rise to meet your sight. So what does that mean? If you're going to see things correctly, no incorrect perceptions can rise to meet your sight. So if I'm going to see things correctly, then my incorrect perceptions cannot rise to meet my sight. If you're going to see things correctly, incorrect perceptions or illusions cannot rise to meet your sight, because reality, what is true, leaves no room for error. It leaves no room for mistakes. So what does that mean? If you're going to see things clearly, your perception has to be correct. If you're going to see things clearly, I'm the repetition teacher. I'm going to say things over and over again, even if it drives you nuts, because that's how you remember. Do you know that the way that you feel about yourself right now is coming from what you constantly tell yourself all the time? Do you know that your self-image is based on what you tell yourself or have learned? So everything you're perceiving is coming from your learning. Everything you're looking at, the way you are looking at it and interpreting it, is coming from your learning. You're calling it a tree because you learned to call it a tree. You're calling it a car because you learned to call it a car. If you're calling yourself unworthy, then you learn to see yourself as unworthy. If you see yourself as somebody who doesn't love yourself, you are telling yourself things and believing things that make you not love yourself through what you are repeatedly telling yourself. And guess what? You're going to be attracted to those people that reinforce the beliefs that you have about yourself. So whatever you believe about yourself, you're going to gather around you all the witnesses that you need to prove to you that that's true. And anyone that would prove something otherwise, you will not even see those people or even hear those people. So what I want you to recognize is that means you have to perceive a brother or an equal only as you see them right now. So think about that person that you would like to change your mind about. And that can even include yourself. Okay, so if you're going to see that person correctly, if you're going to see that person the way that the Course in Miracles is teaching you to see that person in a peaceful perception, it says you have to see them only as they are right now. So let's picture that person being right in front of you right now. Then that means that their past has no reality in the present. So you can't see their past. Like for instance, let me give you an example. You cannot see what I did yesterday. Thank goodness. So therefore, my past has no reality in the present. You don't know a thing about what I did yesterday until I tell you. Now, I'm sitting right here in front of you right now, right? Okay, well, my past has no reality right now. Why? He says, because you can't even see it. You can't see my past right now. So that person you need to forgive in this present moment, whether they're in the body or out of the body. It doesn't even have to necessarily be a person that's alive in the physical body. It could be a person that you see has passed or made their transition. Still, the Course in Miracles is saying that person's past has no reality in the present, so you can't see their past in the present. And also, even if you got upset with them in the past, and your reaction to them in the past was some form of upset, the Course says your past reactions to that person is also not there. In other words, if you saw me last week, and you had a reaction to me about something I said or did last week, that reaction still isn't here right now. That was the reaction you had last week. So even your reaction to me in the past is not what's happening right now. So if you are reacting to me based on the way you reacted to me last week, the Course in Miracles says you are seeing an image of me that you have made and you cherish instead of me. Now, I want you to hear what we just heard. What we just heard is, I have to see this person the way this person is right now. Whatever they did in the past, that's not happening right now. And if I'm reacting to what I think you did in the past, then I'm really reacting to an image that I'm making up in my mind and a memory that I'm making up in my mind that I'd rather cherish than what's happening right now. And what's happening right now is nothing but peace in this moment right now. So the Course in Miracles says, if you want to question your false ideas, if you want to question your fears, if you want to question your illusions, then you have to ask yourself one thing. And what is this one thing you need to ask yourself? It says you need to ask yourself if it is really sane to perceive what was as now. If you're looking at me in terms of how you were reacting to me 2 months ago, is that really sane? Because you're reacting as if what I did in the past is actually what's happening right now in this moment. It's only sane to act on what's occurring right now. Sanity says stay in the now. What's happening between you and I right now is what you need to deal with. Not what happened between you and I 2 weeks ago, 2 years ago, or 2 months ago. You need to react to what's happening between us right now in the present moment. Why? Because if I remember the past, or you remember the past, then the Course in Miracles says, as you look at me and you remember the past, you will not be able to see the reality of the peaceful, loving person that's in front of you right now. Even if we had an argument 2 weeks ago, and I'm standing up here right now before you wanting to have peace between us, and I'm being peaceful with you, and I'm not attacking you, and I'm not judging you in any way, and you're reacting to me as if I was doing whatever it was you thought I did last week, then you won't see the fact that right now I am having peace with you and you are having peace with me right now. So remember, this is called what? Finding the present. So the Course in Miracles has some guidelines that it says that you should use if you really want to get the principles of the Course in Miracles. Those guidelines are coming from the beginning of the workbook. And it says, remember only this. Remember only this. Remember what? Only this. Remember what? You need not believe the ideas. So the Course in Miracles says, if you want to do the Course in Miracles and you really want to get the Course in Miracles, it may sound weird to hear this, but it's saying to you, you don't need to believe the ideas. You don't need to believe the ideas. You don't need to believe the ideas. The next guideline is you need not accept the ideas. So you don't have to accept these ideas. Remember, I'm not trying to convert you. If it's the truth, then you're going to come to realize that one day, sooner or later, anyway. So whether you believe in gravity or not has nothing to do with the reality of gravity. If you jump out of a window, you're not going to fall up because you don't believe in gravity. So there are truths that are true regardless of what you believe. And the truth is, if you see me in terms of what happened between us 3 months ago, you are not dealing with who's standing in front of you right now and what's happening between us right now. And if you're thinking about your reactions to me 3 months ago, then that's an image that you're still keeping in your mind, which is going to keep you from recognizing that right now I'm sitting up in front of you and I'm being very peaceful in this moment with you. So you won't be able to see what's happening in your life right now if all you're doing all day long is thinking about what happened to you in the past and anticipating what's going to happen to you in the future. If all you think about is what you're dreading that might happen to you in the future, or all you're thinking about is what happened to you when you were a kid and how when you were growing up and what someone did to you in the past, you are not being present. And so you are just all day long dealing with images that are not occurring. It's almost like watching people look down at their cell phone walking down the street. They're not being present, really, because they're not paying attention to what's going on right around them. So I've actually seen people trip over things and fall. Why? Because they weren't being present. And so you can trip over the past, just like they trip over something when they're walking with their cell phone. If all you're thinking about is how your mother treated you, your father treated you, how relationships didn't go the way you wanted them to go, how many things in your life that you feel are unfair and unjust, you are not being in the present. And so you will stumble over those old thoughts and beliefs. So the Course in Miracles is telling us that if you want to find the present, then you have to see people and situations as they are happening and what's happening right now. So the Course in Miracles says you need not even welcome the ideas. So what does the Course in Miracles say? Well, you're going to read this book, and basically the Spirit is saying, you may not welcome some of the things that I'm going to say to you. You don't even have to accept what I'm saying to you. You don't have to welcome what I'm saying to you. You don't have to believe what I'm saying to you. Some of the ideas, he says, you may actively resist. You may resist some of the things you hear me say today. You may resist some of the things you hear me say today. You may resist some of the ideas you hear in the Course in Miracles today. And it also says some of the ideas you will find hard to believe. You may find it hard to believe some of the things that I say from A Course in Miracles. And it says some of the things I say may startle you. Okay, so let's get this straight. You don't need to believe it. You might not accept it. You don't need to welcome it. Some of it you might resist. Some of it you might find hard to believe. Some of it may startle you. You are not asked to judge the ideas at all. That's the next instruction. You're not asked to judge and analyze these ideas at all. The Course says it's using the ideas. What? Oh, I knew it was a catch. Yeah. It's using the ideas. It's using the ideas that will give the ideas meaning to you. That's why I don't sit around in a circle and let everybody discuss their interpretations of what the Course in Miracles is saying and analyzing what the Course in Miracles is saying, because the Course in Miracles says that's not what's going to give these ideas meaning to you. What's going to give these ideas meaning to you is to use the idea. So what would be an example of me using the idea? I just ran into somebody. I haven't seen them in 10 years. Well, what I'm going to do is ask them, what's going on? Where are you at right now? You know, who are you right now? I'm going to let go of the person that I thought I knew 10 years ago. And I want to know who you are right now. That's using the ideas. Me realizing that this is not the same person that I was talking to 10 years ago. That's using the idea. So therefore, I stay open. If you're around someone and they've been knowing you a long time and you've been knowing them a long time, and especially in relationships, I find that this is true, that people who are partners get to the point that they'll stop asking each other, what do you feel? What do you think? What do you want? Where are you at now? Who are you today? Because they think they know them. And they think they know them based on the length of time they've been with them and what they've experienced with them in the past. So they'll go, I know you. No, you don't know who I am right now. You need to check in. So any conscious person checks in with their friends. A really conscious person is asking their friends and relatives, what do you feel? What do you want? What's important to you? Who do you see yourself as being right now? What do you value right now? I know 2 weeks ago you may have valued something else. What do you value right now? If I'm going to use these ideas, I'm not going to constantly bring my past experience of you into the present moment that I'm spending with you. Do you know that's why so many people get completely bored in their relationships? They lock each other into past conceptions of each other and don't want that person to go outside of the conceptions and ideas that they have about that person. So just keep in mind, it's the use of the ideas that will give the ideas meaning to you, and it's their use that will show you that the ideas are true. All right, that was one paragraph of the Course in Miracles. So what do we want to do next? The Course in Miracles says, what is it that you consider to be natural that's totally unnatural? What is it that you think is natural that the Course in Miracles says is definitely unnatural? Well, the Course says you consider it natural to use your past experience as a reference point from which to judge the present. I'm going to use my past experience of you as a reference point to judge the present. He says, but that's unnatural because it's delusional. It's delusional for me to use my past experience of you as a reference point to judge right now. Do you notice that the Course in Miracles is saying the exact same thing again, but it's just saying it from a different angle? Do you know why? Because it basically is trying to get you to see the same idea from a lot of different perspectives. In other words, it's unnatural. It's unnatural to use your past experience as a reference point to judge the present. It's delusional because you're not having the past experience. You're having the present experience of that person. So what do you do to get past this block of using the past reference point to judge the present? It says, well, when you have learned to look on everyone, that includes the person that you may have a grievance with, when you've learned how to look on everyone with no reference at all to the past, either their past or your past as you perceive it, then you're going to learn from what you see from that person right now. So if I want to learn from who you are right now, if you want to learn from who I am right now, then you have to look at me today with no reference at all to the past as you see it. So even if you think you know me as a teacher and you are relating to the way that I related as a teacher in the past, you could look at videos that I did 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and you would find that there would probably be a lot of difference in how you're seeing me and how I related and talked at that time. So if you come in here expecting to see the Earl you saw 15 years ago, and then you're judging this Earl by the one that you knew 15 years ago, then you won't learn from who this Earl Purdy is right now. And that's the way the Course is saying. If you want to learn from the person that you're with right now, then it says you have to learn. Check it out. It says you have learned, when you have learned to look on everyone with no reference at all to what's gone. Notice it said learned to look at people without constantly referring to the past. He says, then you'll be able to learn from what that person is presenting to you or giving you right now. Because you're making up an ego or a personality for everybody around you. Did you know that? That you're making up an ego? What I mean by that is you have perceptions and judgments of people. Those perceptions and judgments, that's the ego you're making up for that person. And that may have nothing to do with that person at all. What you believe about a person may not necessarily be true at all. But you are constantly reacting to your beliefs about that person. So you're really reacting to something that is not there, and you're reacting to an image that's in your own mind about that person. So still, you're not relating to who that person is right now. So the Course in Miracles is trying to get you to understand that when you're holding a grievance, that's exactly what you're doing. You're constantly referring to what you experienced with that person in the past, and you look for it to be there, and whether you know it or not, you'll project that into the future, and you'll recreate that in your own mind anyway. Have you ever gotten upset with someone? You never talked to them. You got upset with them. You talk yourself out of being upset with them. Notice the actual individual wasn't involved in that exchange at all, which means you are only relating to the images that you had about that person in your own mind. And for some reason, you changed your mind about that image, and then you felt peace with that person. But the person wasn't even friggin' involved. You did the whole thing in your head. That's what the Course is saying. If you are constantly thinking about what you went through in your reactions to a person, you're only reacting to the images of that person that you have made up in your mind. And so you're not dealing with the real person at all. So the past can only cast a shadow on the present. In the past, the Course says, for the past can cast no shadow to darken the present unless you are afraid of light, unless you are afraid of the present, unless you are afraid of the truth. So what is the truth? The truth is that you are not your past. I am not my past. You are not the images that I make up about you in my mind. I'm not the images that you make of me in your mind. I'm not who I was a week ago. I'm not who I was a month ago. The truth is I am only love and you are only love. The truth is you are spirit and I am spirit. The truth is you are consciousness and I am consciousness. The truth is you are awareness and I am awareness. The truth is you are more than a body and I'm more than a body. The truth is in this moment with me right now, you are only experiencing peace with me. I am not attacking you. I am not judging you. I'm not condemning you. I'm not criticizing you. And even if I did that 2 weeks ago, I'm not doing it right now. I'm not doing it right now. Deal with the person that's in front of you right now. What's happening right now? That's what I want you to deal with. And what's happening right now is I'm sharing this truth with you right now, and that I'm trying to be a voice for love in your life right now. So regardless of what you would have experienced with me 2 weeks ago, that's not what's happening right now. So the Course says, if you're afraid of the light, if you are afraid of the truth, if you are afraid of love, then you're going to keep on thinking about the past. If you're not ready to forgive yet, you're going to keep on thinking about things that make you feel justified in your grievance. So then it says, and only if you would choose to bring darkness with you. Now, what is the darkness? The past. So it says, only if you are afraid of the light, afraid of the truth, would you choose to bring darkness with you? And by holding the past in your mind, the Course calls that darkness. By holding the past in your mind, then that past, like picture me right now, right? You want to keep the past. You want to think about the past when you're looking at me. Well, do you know the Course in Miracles says that's like a dark cloud. There's me, and then there's the past. Like the back of my hand that you're looking at right now, that's the cloud. See, here I am. You're looking at the past. And so the Course in Miracles is saying, and by holding the past in your mind, see it as a dark cloud that shrouds your brothers, which the Course defines as your equals, and conceals their reality from your sight. Notice it just said the same thing again. I'm going to give you a real-time example. You're looking at me right now. I'm talking to you right now. Regardless of what you went through with me last week, right now, I'm being in a peaceful place with you. If you're just remembering your past encounter, this is the cloud, and that cloud is shrouding me. So now you can't even see who I really am because you're so busy reacting to who you think I am and what you think I did to you in the past. So that is hiding my reality from your sight. And the reality is I'm a peaceful person sitting in front of you telling you that you are a loving being and that you only deserve love. Woo! Take a breath. I don't know about you, but I needed that. I need to hear what I'm hearing today. I need to see myself differently. I need to recognize that I need to do the same thing with myself, not think of myself in terms of what I think I did in the past. I need to realize that I'm innocent and that I'm not whatever it is I thought I did in the past. And I love how he says, if you keep on doing that, focusing on the past, focusing on the darkness, he says it's because you are afraid of love. You are afraid of peace. You are afraid of the light. You are afraid of the truth. Notice the Course says you are afraid of the truth. You are afraid of now. So where is the darkness? I see a lot of you saying how much you need this. I think I haven't seen that so many times. It's comments. And believe me, I'm looking at all your comments. I always go back through my live videos and look at the comments. And I want you to realize that I try to make the Course in Miracles practical. I'm not interested in the theoretical theories around the Course in Miracles. I'm not interested in debating whether reincarnation is possible, what heaven looks like. Other than what we can do right now and practice right now, then that's what I'm interested in. So the Course in Miracles says this darkness is in you. The focus on the past is in you. The way that you are seeing things, that's in you. And then it says, the Christ is revealed to you. So let's get past the Christ. The Course in Miracles says the Christ is the one self that we share. The Course in Miracles says the Christ is your innocent self, your true self, your spiritual self, who you really are as the Creator created you. So when I say Christ, we're talking about your true self, our one true self. It's just another term for your loving self. And you do have a loving self. There's two of you. One is false, one is true. The true you is totally loving. The false you believes that you have anger, guilt, grievances, upset, the past, that you're a body, that you died, that you don't live that long, that you got a ton of problems that you're dealing with in the world, that you're a victim of everything you see. That's your false self. That's the self you learn to believe in by whatever it was that the world has taught you or you taught yourself since you've been born. The Course in Miracles says you need to get clear that as you were created by an infinitely loving creator. So you are an extension of that. Whoever heard of an eagle giving birth to a monkey? An eagle produces an eagle. A monkey produces a monkey. The parent has the same characteristics as the child. The child will give birth just like their parent gave birth to them, but they have the same qualities. So you have the same qualities as your creator. And the Course in Miracles is saying if your creator is love, that's what you are. If your creator is a creator, that's what you are. So that's the truth about you. And the Course in Miracles is saying your problem is that you don't know who you really are. You maybe were taught you were born in sin and that you were guilty and that you weren't enough and that you were a body. The Course in Miracles says, you know why you should think that's not true? You should know that's not true because it doesn't give you any joy. It doesn't give you any consistent peace. It doesn't give you any consistent happiness when you're thinking things that are not true. How do we know the world has a bunch of insane, crazy beliefs right now? Because there's so much chaos and fear and pain in the world. You know, I know we want to make things more complicated than they actually are, but everything is coming from thought. Everything that you see is coming from thinking, is coming from thought. Everything you're experiencing is coming from thought. And so the Course in Miracles is saying the past is in you. Now, your true self, and that's what I'm going to say instead of the Christ, your true self is revealed to you now, has no past. Your true self is changeless. What does that mean? I've done this for 40 years. Let me tell you what it means. Your true self was created in love, and your true self is love, and your true self deserves love, and that never changes. That never changes. Then it says, and in the true self's changelessness lies your release. So your release is going to come from realizing that the love that you are, the truth that you are, this incredible being that you are, that never changes. Now, you can think you've changed yourself from this incredibly valuable, powerful, beautiful being. You can think you're not enough, and you can think you're insecure, and you can think you're not smart, and you can think you're not valuable, and you can think you're not loved, but that doesn't change the fact that you are still as you were created. So if you don't want to hear loving thoughts about yourself, if you don't want to hear about your innocence and your sinlessness and your abundance and your guiltlessness and how loved you are, then I'm the wrong teacher. I'm the wrong person for you to tune into. I am not going to condemn you. And I'm not going to say you were born in sin. And I'm not going to say you're going to hell. And I'm not going to judge you. And I'm not going to attack you. If you need that, then you need to follow your heart and move in that direction. But for those who in their gut know that that's not true, or don't want to believe that is being true about themselves, then I'm the guy for you. All right? So again, you have to make the decision that you want to see yourself in a new way. So let's go through that paragraph. That's why I work out of my books, the Course in Miracles book, because I want you to see that what I'm saying is right in front of you, that you have the answer that you can go to regardless of whether you listen to me. So it says, the true self in you is changeless, and in its changelessness lies your release. Because if your true self is as your true self was created, there is no guilt in your true self, the Christ. So I want you to hear this. There's no guilt in you. There's no guilt in you. There's no guilt. You are not made out of guilt. Now, you can have guilt thoughts. You can have guilt feelings. You can tell yourself things that make you feel guilty, but you aren't made out of your guilt. There's no guilt in what you are. There is guilt maybe in what you think you are. There's guilt maybe in what you've been told you are. I want you to hear that. No cloud of guilt has risen to obscure the Christ in you, the true self in you. And the true self in you stands revealed. The true self stands revealed in everyone you meet, because you see the true self through the true self. What in the heck does that mean? It means that there is a loving being in you. There's a loving being in me. There is one self that we share. That one self that we share is that loving self that was created by a loving creator. So I can either see the images that I made up of you, the thoughts that I have about you, or I can choose to see the real loving you behind the ideas that I have about you. I can even see the real loving self in you that you may not see in you. See, I could look at you and look for the Christ in you, the truth in you, the love in you, and remember that there is a loving self in you, even when you're telling me a bunch of fearful, angry, guilty things. I can still choose to remember there's a part of you that's behind whatever I'm looking at and whoever is talking to me right now. So if I was cursing you out right now, if I was saying very negative things to you right now, you could still choose to go, that's the fearful part of Earl. That's the false self in Earl. The real Earl only knows love. The real Earl will only express love. See, you could choose to believe I'm more than even what I'm doing and saying to you. That's your choice. And if you look for the Christ in me, if you look for the love in me, if you look for the truth in me, you will see it. But if you just want to see me in terms of everything that's happened in the past, then you're going to bring the past in the present. You're going to react to the past as if it was happening right now. And you're going to come at me from the perspective of grievances and upset, if that's what happened. And guess what? You will probably bring that out. And you'll probably experience that again because that's what you're focusing on. Take a breath. Then the court says, no cloud of guilt has risen to obscure the true self, and the true self stands revealed in everyone you meet because you see the true self through the true self. So what does it mean to be born again? What does it mean to be born again? All right. What does it mean to be born again? What it means to be born again is you have let the past go. So when you say to be born again, you're saying, I'm willing to let the past go. I want you to be born again to me. Well, you being born again to me is I'm letting go of the past. I have been doing a lot of inner healing around my relationship with my biological father, right? So what I've had to do is let go of the past between us so that my father could be born again to me. So if I want you to be born again to me, I can't keep bringing the past into the present every time I'm with you. So to be born again means to let the past go. So what do you do to let the past go? It says where you look, okay, without condemnation upon the present. So if I'm not condemning you right now, I'm allowing you to be born again right now. If I'm not condemning myself right now, I'm allowing myself to be born again right now. How do I stop condemning myself right now? I stop judging myself based on what I think I did in the past. There was a time I got into the Course in Miracles because I had one of the most ferocious anger issues you could imagine. I had a temper that you would not even recognize the person that's sitting in front of you right now. To be born again, I have to let go of that image of myself so that I can be born again in the present. And I have to not condemn Earl that I thought I was at that time. So me condemning myself for the way that I was in the past is not me letting go of the past and being born again. Forgiving myself for what I did in the past or thought I did in the past is the key to being born. And forgiving myself means seeing what I did in the past correctly. Forgiving myself doesn't mean I'm going to try to overlook what I really did to myself. The truth is, I didn't do anything to myself, even when I was an angry Earl, because loving Earl, true Earl, spiritual Earl, was still loving true Earl and spiritual Earl. What I was dealing with was who I thought I was at that time. I was reacting from who I believed and what I believed about myself at that time. So if I want to be born again, I have to let go of those past negative images of myself from the past and not condemn myself for whatever it is I thought I did in the past. And it's the same thing I got to do with my father. I've got to not condemn my father for what I thought my father did or did not do in the past. Because guess what? My father isn't doing any of those things right now. So if I was going to deal with my father in terms of who my father is right now, even though he's made his transition, he still exists. He just doesn't exist in a body. unless he's come back again. But the point that I'm making right now is, in this now moment, my Father isn't doing anything to me in any kind of fearful, negative way. So that allows my Father to be born again to me in the present. So if you want to be born again, you do what? You let the gone go. If you want to be born again, what else do? You stop condemning in the present. So the cloud that hides you is the past. The cloud that hides you to me is the past. And if you want to have the past, if you want to have the cloud past and gone, you must not see the past now if you want to have the past gone. Now, don't forget, past means gone. Or, you know, with my southern accent, it's about saying past means gone. Okay, so when you say I'm going to let go of the past, you saying I'm going to let go of the gone. What could be easier than letting go of the past? Think about that for a minute. We act like letting go of the past is hard. No, it's not. Because past means gone. How can you not let go what's already gone? It's already gone. My childhood is way gone. So, my childhood is so far gone. Anyway, I don't even want to talk about it. Okay. So I want you to get that past means gone. So that means that if you want to be born again, all you have to do is accept the reality of now. It's really not tough. The truth really is, how hard is it for me to let go of 10-year-old Earl? Well, 10-year-old Earl doesn't exist anymore. So to let go of the past means to accept now. So don't think letting go of the past is so difficult. Now, what can be difficult about it is whether or not you want to let go of it in your mind. So when you say it's hard to let go of the past, you're telling yourself that it's hard for me to stop telling myself what I'm telling myself. It's hard for me to stop telling myself what I'm telling myself. Well, the reason why you keep focusing in on the past is because there's a payoff you're getting from focusing in on that grievance. There's a payoff you're getting from wanting to keep thinking your childhood is the reason why you're not happy right now. There's a payoff you're getting from believing that because you didn't have prosperity and abundance in the past, you can't have prosperity and abundance now. There's a payoff in seeing yourself as a victim. And that payoff, according to the Course in Miracles, has something to do with being special. I'm going to be so special because I'm worse off than everybody else or inferior, or I'm going to be special because I'm better than others. But it's just a form of specialness. What is that? A way to get attention. I'm calling for love. I'm calling for help. I want to be noticed. I want to be, it's somehow focused on. So the Course in Miracles says, if you see, it says, if you would have the cloud of the past and gone, you must not see it when? Now. So if you see the past now in your illusions, what are your illusions? All the images that I'm keeping in my mind based on what happened between us and how I saw you in the past. That's why the Course calls it an illusion, because past Earl isn't sitting in front of you. So that means that if you see past Earl right now, then your past illusion of me has not gone from you. Your past perception of me hasn't gone, even though it's not here. So if you still want to remember the upset you had with me last week, then you are delusional, because I'm not attacking you, and I might not even been attacking you then. That just might have been your projection of what you interpreted me as doing. I might not have been hurting you at all. That might have been you saying that you think I hurt you. So the Course in Miracles is saying to us, if you want to see the past, then it hasn't gone from you, even though the past has gone. Notice, what is it doing? Over and over again. Saying what? The same thing from as many different angles as possible to free you up. So what is it that time can do? What is it that time can do? Well, time can release you. See, right now, if you were to take what I'm teaching you right now from A Course in Miracles, you could use what I'm teaching you right now to release you from your grievances, right? Or you can use time to imprison you. So what does that mean? Well, you could also use right now to reinforce your grievances, your anger, your upset, whatever you think happened in the past. which is actually imprisoning you. So so every moment, what am I doing? I'm either releasing myself or imprisoning myself. I am releasing myself or imprisoning myself. You are releasing yourself or you are imprisoning yourself by the way you're looking at your past and the way you're remembering the past of other people around you. You are releasing yourself when you're looking at the piece of the now and the fact that the past is gone and you're going to deal with people in terms of who and what they are right now. That's freeing yourself. That's releasing yourself. So what does that mean? It means the interpretation of time is what's imprisoning you or releasing you. How you interpret time is determining whether time is releasing you or imprisoning you. I'm going to interpret time as an opportunity for me to apply the teachings of A Course in Miracles to my life. So I'm using time to release myself. That's why I'm teaching, because everything I teach, I learn. Every time I do a class, I'm the one that hears it. So this is freeing me, whether you use it to free you or not. That's up to you. You can listen to me, and I'm sure some of you are, and you're coming up with every justification that you can possibly come up with as to why you can't forgive a person for what you think they've done to you in the past. Or you could right now be thinking of every reason why you shouldn't forgive yourself and you should still condemn yourself. Well, that's using time to imprison yourself. Or you could say, I'm going to use this time to remember that whatever I did in the past is not happening right now. And so therefore I have a fresh new moment to express myself in a fresh new loving way and free myself from the guilt of what I'm not doing anymore anyway. So if you want to free yourself, you're going to use this moment to focus on letting go of the past. If you still want to imprison yourself, you're going to be coming up with every reason why what I'm saying isn't true. But here's the challenge with that. That's imprisoning you. It's not imprisoning me. It's not even imprisoning the person that you have the grievance with. The person that you have the grievance with may not even know you have a grievance. The person that you're making yourself feel sad and upset about may not even know that you feel sad and upset. They could be having the time of their life right now and have no idea that you are still keeping yourself in pain about the experience that you had with them. So who's being imprisoned? Is it you being imprisoned or the person you have the grievance with? Well, the person you have the grievance with is not being imprisoned by your thoughts about them. They don't even know your thoughts about them in most cases. My point is, when you're practicing the truth, you're blessing yourself. It's you you're freeing. You're not hurting that person that your mama that you still can't let go of what you think she did 10 years ago. She's not feeling that. That's you feeling that. That's you being imprisoned by that. And you know why you would do that? Because you're afraid of love. You're afraid of innocence. You're afraid of the truth. You're afraid of yourself because you are a totally loving being. You are a totally innocent being. You may not know it, but that doesn't keep it from being true. So then it says, past, present, and future are not continuous unless you force continuity on them. What happened to you in the past doesn't have to be happening to you right now and doesn't have to happen to you in the future unless you force it. And it says you can perceive your past, present, and future as the same, and you can make your past, present, and the future the same for you. I said it again. You can make your past, present, and the future the same for you. But don't be deceived. Don't believe that that's how it is. Don't believe that however you've experienced something in the past, you have to go through that again right now. Don't you believe that? And then the Course in Miracles says, I love this line. He says, for to believe reality is what you would have reality be, according to your use for reality, is delusional. It's delusional for you to believe that the truth is going to be what you want it to be according to your use for it. There's a truth above and beyond whatever you believe. So to believe that you can change reality, the Course in Miracles says one of the funniest things that we believe is that we can change reality. The Course in Miracles says, no, you can't change reality according to your use for it. What's true is true, and nothing else is true. And you can't change the truth. What is the truth? Well, one truth is that you are only love. You're loved, you're lovable, and you truly are loving. You truly are spirit. So you can't change reality, but you can change your perception of it. So when I hear a person say they're going to create their own reality, To me, all they're saying is they're going to create or make their own way of looking at things. That's all that they're doing. That's all you ever doing. You can have control over the perceptions that you make, but you have no control over reality. So thank goodness. We changed so much that if there wasn't something that was stable and dependable, we'd be up the creek. I'm glad that I can't change the love of God. I'm glad that what's real cannot be altered by my beliefs or anybody else's beliefs. And so the Course in Miracles says that you would destroy time's continuity by breaking time into past, present, and future. So why do we break things into past, present, and future? For our purposes. I do everything for my purpose. Whatever is happening, I have a purpose for that. And so I try to use the past for my purpose. I try to use the present for my purposes. And I even anticipate the future for my purposes. And the Course in Miracles says that destroys the continuity of time, which is that there is just one eternal now. There is just now. If you would be honest with yourself, the one thing that you've had for as long as you've been in the body is a now. There's always a now. But we break it into past, present, and future. And so the Course in Miracles says, what do you mean? It says, well, what you do is you anticipate the future on the basis of your past experience. Okay, as a person of color in the body, I could say I had a bad experience with, let's say, a policeman in the past, right? And then I anticipate that every encounter that I'm going to have with a policeman in the future is also going to be a frightening, bad encounter. That is me anticipating the future on the basis of my past experience. And then I plan for that negative encounter. I'm on the lookout for that negative encounter with the policeman. So I'm just giving that as an example to let you understand that when you do that, you are aligning the past with the what? He says you are aligning the past and the future and not allowing the miracle which could intervene between the past and future to free you to be born again. Okay, let me give you another example of that. If I think the kind of experience that I had with women in the past is the kind of experience I'm going to have in the future, then I'm not allowing the miracle. And what is the miracle? The now, the correct perception, the love to intervene. If I have an idea based on something I went through in the past and I think I'm going to reproduce it in the future, I'm not going to allow a space for something new to come in. And that's the miracle. The miracle is now. It's a miracle if I stop judging everything that I think is going to happen to me based on what happened to me through my past experience. And then I'm going to anticipate that it's going to happen to me in the future. People do that. We do that so much. As a matter of fact, we think that's wisdom. We think it's wisdom to always think about your past experience all the time in order to plan for what's going to happen in the future. And the Course in Miracles is saying that once you really recognize who you really are and you start to live through guidance and allowing the Holy Spirit, the voice for God, the voice for truth to guide you, then you don't plan. You just carry out plans. You just do what you're told. You just follow your guidance. And that guidance will always lead you to an experience that is peaceful and loving beyond your wildest imagination. As a matter of fact, the Course in Miracles teaches that if you really learn how to listen to your own inner voice, you will have experiences of such joy and such love that you know you weren't the one that made it or created it. Because you just have to go, this is just too good. I know this has nothing to do with my ego because this is beyond my wildest dreams. So the truth is, no, you don't have to actually plan for the future based on the past according to what we've learned in the world. That's what you do when you're out of contact with your inner guidance. You have to come up with your plan. But if you learn how to get your thinking corrected, get the past out of the way, then in the now, which is where you're receiving your guidance from God, you would allow yourself to hear that guidance because you wouldn't be so busy planning everything based on your own personal past experiences. So if you see the past right now, you want to allow the miracle, which is the correct perception, which is the past is gone and the future is not yet. You're wondering what I mean by correct perception. Your past is gone, the future is not yet. So now you're going to allow the miracle, which the Course defines as a correct loving perception, to intervene. I love that. Let love intervene. Let abundance intervene. Let peaceful relationships intervene. He says, between your past and future, that will free you. And it will free you to be born again. All right, so I'm going to do a quick recap. I want to thank you for letting yourself hear this. We know what our agreement is, which is that we'll listen to this or watch this at least 4 times, because we recognize that it is through repetition that we allow ourselves to change our mind, not through analyzation, but through repetition, which means it's not me having to understand everything that Earl said from the course today. How much of what he said today can I remember? That's what I want to focus on. What did he say today out of the course that I could remember and that I could use? And so as a full-time teacher, I want to thank you. If you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, which I would most be grateful for, just go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com, earlpurdy.com. And if you use Venmo or any of those other applications of that type, my email is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com, earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. Also, I'm available for one-on-one personal mentoring, advising sessions to show you how to apply these principles to something that you're going through in your life right now that you know you're ready to have some level of relief and you're ready to do it differently and have the kind of peace and joy that you think you deserve right now. I've been working with people for over 40 years with this. I call them clarity sessions. And for those who are open and receptive to it, I've been a soul purpose astrologer and numerologist for over 45 years. There are many ways that spirit communicates to us and gives us guidance. Go to my website and it will give you all the details about my services, and you can book an appointment with me right there on my website. On Thursday nights, I do hardcore Course in Miracles, especially geared toward Course in Miracles students who have made the decision that they do want to learn the course, and it is the path that speaks to them. It's not a class that's geared toward people who haven't made up their mind about it. It's for those people who say, Earl, you've been doing this 40 years. I want to take advantage of that because I know this is my path. It feels right to me. I want to go in this direction, and I want you to save me some time. So it's very much focused on the practical application of A Course in Miracles. That's Thursday night, 7 p.m. on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook. Follow this page and like this page. And then whenever I come, when I'm online live, you'll be notified of that. And even if you don't have a course Facebook account, you can still watch it by going to www.facebook.com/Earl Purdy Live. And that way you can watch my live broadcast, whether you have a Facebook account or not. Okay, so 7 p.m. Thursday nights, Mountain Time, Earl Purdy page. And of course, 1 o'clock on Sundays. Okay, so let me do one quick 5-minute recap, all right? Here we go. If you really want to have a new experience of everything and everyone in your life, you need to let go of the perceptions that you have of them from your past experience of them. Now, I'll say that again. If you're reacting to the past when you're with someone, the Course in Miracles says you're cherishing an image of them that you have in your mind rather than who they really are right now. A real life example of that is you've been listening to me right now. You wouldn't even know about my past if I didn't tell you about it. I wouldn't know about your past if you didn't tell me about it. So obviously the past isn't real in the present. That means it ain't happening. So if it ain't happening right now, it's not happening. You and I might have had an argument yesterday, but right now you and I are not having an argument. So in this now moment, if you bring the argument back into the present, then you just want to relive that argument again, that separation again. What you want to do is set the goal of having peace and love with me right now. And I want to have peace and love with you right now. So the right now is where what's real is happening. Right now is the present. The present is the point of power. Also, the Course says it's unnatural for you to constantly use your past experience as a reference point to determine what you do in the present. And if you do that, it just means you're afraid of the peace and the love and the light and the truth that you could have right now. So if I'm afraid of the love that could happen between me and you right now, if I'm afraid of joining with you, opening up with you, trusting you, connecting with you right now, then I'm going to constantly bring up all the things from the past that I can keep going in my mind in order to keep me separate from you. So if you want to hold a grievance, it's easy. All you got to do is use the present moment to think of everything that happened in the past that can keep you upset, and then project that that's going to happen in the future. And guess what? You're probably going to recreate that negative experience again in the future. The other thing that we heard from what we covered today was that there is a real you in you, the Christ. The real you in you is that one loving self that we all share. That self never changes. There is a you that has no guilt in it. There's a you that has no sin or guilt in it. There is a you that has no negative, fearful aspects in it. There is a you that is pure, unconditional love. There is a you that is total spirit. There is a you that is total light. How do you get in touch with that you? Well, you have to be born again. So what does being born again mean, Earl? It means letting the past go and not condemning yourself anymore right now, and not condemning anybody else right now. Because the cloud that hides me to you is the past. The cloud that hides you to me is the past. So if you want to forgive that person, if you want to let go of the past, you can have a born-again relationship with that person. Last point is that you can use time to imprison yourself, or you can use time to free yourself. If you're watching this class, you're using time to free yourself. Or you could use time to go, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. I got this grievance. I want to hang on to this grievance. You know, I know what that person did to me. I hate them for that. Then you're using time to imprison yourself. So why is it that it's time being used to imprison yourself? Because you're the only one that's feeling crappy. It's you that's feeling that. It's you that's attacking your body. It's you that's keeping you feeling miserable with those feelings. The other person doesn't feel it. The person that you have all those grievances toward, that you're using to make yourself feel guilty and in pain about, that person isn't feeling it. So you want to not condemn the present and let go of the grievance because it frees you up. Your motivation to do this is based on whether you're motivated to give yourself a break. So a person that holds on to a grievance, a person that keeps unforgiveness going, is a person that is attacking themselves. See, if I hate me, if I don't like me, I'm going to try to keep me feeling bad all the time. I'm going to try to keep me worried about something all the time. So all that anger you think you're projecting toward that other person, it's you that you haven't forgiven. Or you wouldn't constantly keep yourself in that negative feeling all the time. That's you punishing you. And then you're using them as an excuse to punish you. And I'm telling you that you are innocent. You are sinless. You are guiltless. And that the only thing that can be wrong is your perception, which is your interpretation of what's going on. And the Course in Miracles gives you new interpretations of what's going on. And it teaches you how to apply those new interpretations to everything that's happening in your life, so that you will feel more peace. And guess what happens when you feel more peace? You can hear the voice of truth within you. You can hear God's guidance. You can't hear it in conflict. You hear God's guidance in peace. All right, so we're going to continue with this section next time. You are awesome. I'm so glad that we had a chance to remember together today. You're just my mighty companions. That's what we are. You are absolutely awesome. Share the video, share the video, share the video. Did I say share the video? Yeah, share the video. Okay, mighty companions, may the Course be with you. See you next time. Mwah.